This episode of Super Pulp Science is brought to you by the Maddox Warriors 2025 Superhero Run. This September 13th at 8 a.m., it's a 5 or 10K run. It's for a great cause, and you can sign up now.
Attention, citizens. It's time for Super Pulp Science.
This is Super Pulp Science, where we talk about how genre gets made. I'm here with my two story break companions because we've decided you've heard enough about show life and it's time to be creative. Justin Curry, known the world over as Chasing Artwork, and producer extraordinaire Dan Vadeboncoeur.
Hello. I always like to identify myself.
Hello. So we were talking, dear listeners, before the recording. Actually, in the interest of full disclosure, Dan, it turns out, records all our preambles and then cuts them out.
I do. For the
Patreons.
No.
That's right.
We don't do that. But somewhere, when I did a recording, is all our criticisms of recent shows and things that we've been watching. And that's not what we do on the show, is we don't really dig down and criticize other people's creative work if we can help it. However, it did reignite in me one of my favorite things that we do on the show, which is to do a story break episode. And for those of you who don't know, we basically spend a little less than an hour breaking down sort of a complete treatment of an idea that we come up with on the spot. We have very few rules, but mostly we stick to the +1 rule, which is rather than overwrite someone else's idea, we add to it. And if you really want to mess it up, you have to add to it in a way that deletes it. You'll see how Justin's good at that. And but it was also prompted because Justin was just looking for a lost draft of his new long, epic 200-page graphic novel.
It's like 280 to 300 pages now.
Oh my gosh, you're out of control. And I was talking about how I've recently started a new novel, but I'm doing it longhand, which has totally changed my own creative process. It's made really obvious to me, gentlemen, how much I've been relying on digital tools to be like, oh, I'll just move that up there. Oh, that is an idea better there, and I'd move it now. But since I'm writing longhand, I can't do that. So I have all these parenthetical comments to myself, which I'm not sure how will translate when I finally have to type it up.
Let's talk about that after you're finished, because I'm interested to know how that goes from being longhand to you're going to have to type it out eventually.
That's right, yeah.
So that's like the second draft is the typo draft?
Yeah, so first draft, or like my what I'm thinking of as my construction draft, is longhand, and then my first real draft will be the typed version. But it has
such a powerful tool that just the redoing the work again and again and again, and especially changing the mediums.
Yeah.
Like in comics, going from that like super rough thumbnail to like the more refined sketch to like the tight outline and color version. Like everything changes every time you change that medium, change that version.
Well, exactly right. And as far as the medium and genre are concerned, this one is a murder mystery. It's a supernatural story, but it's also a murder mystery. So, and I'm pantsing it for the most part. I have a loose idea of not who done it, just how done it. It's a how done it right now. I know how the murder was accomplished, but not who. And so I'm pantsing along the way. So in my parentheses, I'm often like, oh, I wonder if this person did it. Right? Like, oh, maybe they are. Because I also don't know.
That's fun.
And that's creating this sort of side space in the construction of the story, which is sort of a separate possible collection of who has done it. And I normally would, in a digital draft, not do that. I wouldn't make that note for myself. I would jump to another page in the document and write whatever I was thinking and then jump back. But since the longhand, does not allow for that in a way that with my horrible handwriting, it would make sense to do. It's got me thinking about how stories are constructed and the hows and whys. So if we're going to do a story break, let's first decide the basic genre elements. We usually go with science fiction or horror or mystery.
The reason the first two things you said come to mind is we all came into the studio talking about the new Alien show.
That's right.
Which is to put a timestamp on this. There's about 5 episodes out, so we're I don't know how many episodes are going to be
I don't
total of that
know.
show, but we've all been enjoying, and we had lots of things to talk about and to say about that show.
And we should note that we've noticed some similarities in the story elements in that show to things that we've come up with, and you have come up with, particularly Greg. I think there's one element specifically that's very similar to something you've come up with. But it's interesting how these ideas kind of are ubiquitous, and everybody has them in different ways.
Well, and my first thought is not the same way that when what was that other animated series that everyone kept sending us images of Dragon Nanny saying, hey, did they steal Robot? When Wild Robot came out, lots of our supporters and fans were like, oh my God, do you guys have to lawyer up? Like, what is happening? But no, there's a certain amount of genre elements that when you add them together, they result in certain other ideas. And it's just, I think, part of that phenomenon of similar concepts that end up, and we're all standing on the shoulders of the same giants, right? And we're all inspired by similar things, especially if you're in genre spaces. There's some very clear guardrails that sort of keep you into what those genre rules are, and it's very rare when a new story comes along that changes those elements. And this is
immediately everybody kind of piggybacks on that and does a variation on it, right? Yeah.
So, The Matrix has so many spin-offs. I think Sinners, we're going to see a lot of spin-offs from that. And my new one that I think is going to reset some of the genre elements, or actually feels very close already. You guys saw Longlegs?
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Longlegs, I think, begats Weapons.
Oh, okay. Weapons. Yeah,
right.
I'll see that. Like, all this stuff is next month.
Not in delivery at all. Story is totally different and unique, but in tone. There's that tonal. I don't know what it's going to be called, but this, it reminds me of when we started having neo-noir elements in things. It's like a kind of horror genre that is spinning out of all of these experimental, low-budget, drama-driven horrors. It's like a whole new genre, and I love genre, so I can't wait for there to be a new genre. What will we call it? I do not know. So, where do you guys want to play?
In this genre, describe it more. What happens in this?
This one that we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, if I were to give it the rules, I would say bleakness is a key feature. Low lighting, right? Really low lighting, where you're imagining, just like you were as a little kid, what is that my pile of laundry, or is there a goblin coming to eat my feet, right? Like that feeling in that graininess is definitely there. It's a touch of magic realism where things are going wrong, but only a little bit wrong. Like you could almost excuse it. A little bit of satanic panic is also a little dash on the top of it. And I think what they also have in common are that the main characters don't believe what's happening to them, and that is a benefit.
Oh, okay.
Right? It allows them to go forward. Like, if you knew what the audience knew, you would not go in there, right? Those kinds of feelings. But because they don't believe that it's anything strange or weird, they think the world is messed up enough as it is, and it's probably just bad people doing bad things, and we got to stop them. They rush in where, angels fear to tread, as it were. Definitely, that appears in Longlegs, and that was in another. What did I just see also? But for sure in Weapons, that feeling also.
That's I haven't seen either.
Barbarian is similar to that.
Also, Barbarian.
Right?
There's that movie with Matthew McConaughey where it was all about he saw religious things, and and so they kept flashing back to like his
frailty.
Yeah, he had a really horrible childhood, and this whole time you think his dad has gone insane. He's putting his kids through all this horrible stuff.
But then it turns out to be real.
So it's that whole like bleakness. Oh, this is just a really sad family environment. And then it turns out there is a supernatural element.
So we're talking about starting it in a realistic world, right? This is the real world, and then something strange is going to happen that's going to feel strange, right? Because those things don't happen in real life.
You're really going to like the new place, son. It's a lot bigger than that condo in Venice. And you won't be sleeping on the living room sofa.
All three of those ones, like Barbarian, Weapons, and
Frailty.
Frailty, and also Longlegs, they all have rural components.
Now, is that because there's not a lot of people around?
I think so.
Like you go out and you're kind of by yourself out in this wide open space.
But also insular societies.
Okay.
Right? Like this, people know people. and have preconceived notions about how things are done, and that becomes a structure you have to navigate. Like, oh, well, Bob Perkins always comes in on Tuesday to the store, and he didn't. So now someone's going to go check on him because that's what neighbors do. Those kinds of things, which you don't, frankly, get in real urban environments.
So you just went and did some location scouting out in rural Manitoba.
Yeah.
And rural Manitoba is littered with abandoned farm plots and buildings. And
I was making up jokes about how we should shoot a farm noir movie while we were out there, right? And then the director I was with said that there is kind of a genre that's rural noir, rural whatever, like Night of the Hunter, other things like that, or that there is a pre-existence to that. But okay, so farm noir, we're gonna do a farm noir, yeah, or okay, all right.
So somebody from the city has to be coming out to, my mind immediately goes to like a cop or two partners that are coming out to some small town to investigate something that's beyond the scope of the local sheriff and police.
All right. Well, if they're coming, then they're going to for sure meet.
That's the obvious one. So maybe not cops. Maybe somebody, some other kind of government worker, like maybe a family worker or
like a wellness check.
Maybe like maintenance. Like it's something like hydro is being bizarre in this one area through the country, and we need you guys, hydro guys, to go investigate what is going wrong in this one pocket.
I love that. I love that.
Because cops
There's one character
is
for sure.
just like that's the first thing that everybody would do.
Now I'll quantify it for the dear listener. Why I love that idea is I immediately pictured the hard hat, the belt, the truck with like snacks and bits from the long drive, and all those compartments on the hydro truck, right? Give us potential for whatever you need else in the story can probably be in that unit, right? Is a place ripe with details, which I think makes it a good inclusion in general, right? Because then things that we need, there's a reason for it to be there, or you can come up with a reason why it's there as the story unfolds. So if we have a guy doing hydro work, I can't help but think of this. My father's brother, when he was 18, was killed on a hydro line. So what era? And this was in a time before all the safety procedures.
Yeah, you might want to set it a little bit earlier so that there's more danger.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And more like can-do spirit.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just that, oh, well, obviously we'd climb this thing and clip that wire. That's what you have to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which right now you'd radio someone and say, hey, Mitch, am I allowed to touch this?
Now, I would say that like this is a good starting situation where we have this person going out to repair something, but I don't know that necessarily whatever he finds has to have to do with the wire. We just put him in that situation, and then something either comes to him or he comes across something that changes and changes his perspective.
Yeah, because those long wire, like the hydro lines in Manitoba, for people listening abroad, we have huge wild spaces where they cut these swaths through to keep the lines clear. Right,
so like in the middle of a forest somewhere, they'll have this big like clearing street,
which goes for kilometers. Like you can look down,
cutting those swaths. They're in like the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. So this is other characters. So we got, I don't know what you call those guys, but clear. There is a name for it,
lumberjacks,
right? They're basically lumberjacks, and this is one of those things, dear listener, where you could stop and start Googling, but that would throw you off.
Yeah. Keep
right.
going.
Don't do it.
Google later.
Yeah. So our lumberjacks or our swath cutters, whatever we're going to call them, are people he could meet. Right?
Yeah, or they're working in tandem. Those guys are a little bit ahead, and then he shows up, and
there's been trouble, and so he asks them about it. Things have been touching the line. So what's brought him up? I love Dan's idea.
Touching the lines.
But that the two things are not related.
Well, like there's something going wrong with the hydro or the power, obviously, but it's because of something in the area. It's not because
what's the bad thing?
There's like an evil spirit or something. Or location could matter. Does this take place in North America? Does it take place in Europe, like the part of the world where there's a lot of older places and older things, or maybe
now in supernatural stories, in noir in general, the bad thing. Let's just call the term like whatever it is that's going to happen.
The ritual into this category.
The ritual is close.
That's a little more monster movie though.
It's more of a monster movie because in the ritual, you don't wonder if people are the problem. You're certain in the ritual even with the title, The Ritual, there's a supernatural element.
Gotcha.
Right? But even the names of those other movies don't give you the hint of what it is. There's an element of surprise. The bad thing is unknown. So we'll eventually need a MacGuffin bad thing, a bad thing that's a person, and then a bad thing that's not a person, right? My wife was recently out in Ontario. She went out with a friend to a distant cabin. They had to drive up the highway and then drive like a number of kilometers on a logging road and then take a road that the people who own the property cut themselves. And so they're about an hour and a half away from any civilization whatsoever. And typified now by the number of times a lynx came walking across the front of the cabin. So like this is, right? So these kinds of places aren't as hard to reach as they once were, right? This was just a weekend adventure. And yes, out of contact, no phone, no electricity, none of those things. But basic amenities, I like this idea of some place where the amenities are old. So like where she was, the cabin had not been updated since the 80s. And in the 80s, it was still created to be no electricity and no plumbing.
Oh, okay.
Right? So it's like 80s, but no modern amenities. So I think like this would push us out of time. We wouldn't need to know even when it is.
Sure.
Because if they're far enough away, we solve the cell phone problem of all modern storytelling. And we don't have to explain it because the guy's just in workwear. We don't have to like set it in a time or place unless we think that's useful. Right? Okay. So we got a guy. He's been called out. He's a specialist of some sort. He's been called out. He meets these other people who are clearing the lines, and there should be some MacGuffin, some clue, something. What is that? What's something? What goes wrong in the woods? Something's touching the line. I like this idea.
Sure, something's touching the line, or there's like chew marks on the line, or something like that. Or
Yeah, my mind keeps going monster.
Yeah, I keep going at monster too. I like the idea of there being a bad person, so maybe like somebody is siphoning off the electricity to use for something else.
Oh,
right. So like he comes across this issue, and then it turns out there is a person.
I love the idea
creating
of
something.
visual of him like following the line back and turning like kind of turning around the bend. And these hydro lines are huge, right? They're like 75 feet up in the air, and they're massive. They're kind of like almost like look like little steel people, right? They've got like little arms that stick out. They're big. That's what I'm picturing, right? Those really big, long distance hydro lines. And so our main character guy is following these along, and he turns a bend, and there are all like thousands of little wires have been connected to like the main hydro line and are going off into the woods.
Okay.
Just some kind of...
See, what I had drawn while you were talking about something else, it was like those like arms you can use to connect to live hydro. Like sometimes hydro themselves will use that to power other things. So something that's touching the line, this is what I was thinking, that seems like we could set it up like it's supernatural, or, they're like, oh yeah, we see stuff in the woods, so I wouldn't go in the woods. And maybe we find out that those guys are just messing with him, right? But I love the idea that he goes out and then finds like
old like cattle wire.
Yeah.
Just like thousands of strands have somehow been attached, which shouldn't be possible because they're just going off into the woods.
Right. And our first thought, yours probably too, dear listener, is something like that would disrupt it in such a way that is impossible. That's not something you have to look up or think about. You just say, okay, cool, we'll solve that problem later. There's a bunch of wires connected to the line.
Your mind immediately goes like, how did they get up there?
Yeah.
And the whole point of it is to send him off into the woods to investigate, right?
He follows the line.
So, and he's got lots of choices. Like, he can go off and he's basically got to pick a direction and follow one of these lines to find out where it goes.
Okay.
Oh, and what's cool about that is he picks one. And your first thought is like, oh, well, if someone went looking for him, they'd also find this. But now if he follows one of hundreds of these things that go off in different directions, you now get to shout at him from your page or from your screen saying, no, leave a mark, like let someone know where you went.
Breadcrumbs or something like that.
Yeah, but he does it.
Don't you like it? It has a lot of mushrooms in it. Would you like some soup? Okay.
So maybe to set up some kind of tension with this, before we get to this point, he arrives on site, and maybe this particular clear-cutting crew has like lost some guys.
No.
And they just like they puttered off.
Got drunk and left.
Yeah, but no, they're quite like there's some tension there. Like maybe something happened to him. Like Joe would have never left. Like he.
Okay, so what if then he finds evidence that they found the same thing and followed it? So like some snacks, maybe a lunchbox or something where
like once he gets into the woods.
No, like once he gets to where because his first thought is like, yeah, these jackasses abandoned their posts and there's something wrong and I'm going to go find them and I'm going to find this thing. And then he realizes, no, everyone's doing their real job and these guys must have found this too.
Mm-hmm.
And now they followed it. And does he pick a random one or does he think he's found the one they followed? Maybe one is low enough that it can be followed easily.
Maybe one twangs.
Ooh.
Yeah, or it's got like a little motion to it or something.
Yeah.
And he can see something happening on the other end of it.
Okay.
Maybe he does some investigate, like he has some equipment where he's testing them, or like he's doing his due diligence. He's doing his job. He's not just like, ooh, there's a scoop, Scooby-Doo. He's actually like trying to figure out what the hell this is, why it's there.
Yeah. Because he would have like one of those voltage meters for sure.
Yeah.
Right? And why isn't it setting fire to the woods?
Yeah.
These would be questions, right? Why aren't they setting fire? Why isn't it shorting out the system? What is going on?
Does he have like one of the younger guys with him that he's voicing all these questions to? Like somebody that we can kill off? We need some fodder.
Dustin's itching for a kill.
You need a kill.
Okay, well, if it's going to be
Right?
Well, did we say horror? We did say horror at the beginning.
Well,
We said farm noir, which isn't necessarily horror.
yeah, and we're like hydro noir now. I don't know. Yeah. And like the noir element is more tonal than it is plot related. So I like a supernatural. I like that we don't know.
It doesn't have to be supernatural,
Right?
right? We at this point it could be either.
Right.
So we can choose.
Right. So like he follows the line. Okay, the thing I wrote down that I really liked, twang. That a noise, not a snapping of a stick or a rustling in the thing, but he hears that high tension twang of like metal or tension, like almost like a guitar string, but not quite. And that's what turns him in a direction.
Yeah.
And so he's following this noise, which means somebody could be luring him, obviously. Or it could just be
I have an idea where this can all head.
Right.
Okay.
Do we want to?
Yes.
Okay, so
because we're writing it, we're not surprising this.
So maybe at the end of this, the big reveal, the big monster is a lightning witch. Somebody who uses like a supernatural creature of some kind that would draw their powers from like lightning strikes. And now they don't have to rely on storms anymore. They've found access to like a constant source
flow.
Yeah. So maybe this is some...
So like lightning strikes here all the time, and that's what's caused him to come out and assume that that's what happened. And then they say, no, there was no lightning strikes. We sent some guys up the line, but they didn't come back. He goes and he follows it, and he finds all of these things, which then that gives us a hint to that notion later, this weather witch.
It's some kind of creature that's completely out of balance now because it's getting fed all the time instead of just every once in a while.
Right. There are a lot of lightning-related legends in Norse and Irish mythology. If you set it in Manitoba, it almost behooves you to use a indigenous myth, which immediately, if you're putting this into production, don't do that. Right? Don't be three white guys talking about how you're going to...
we would definitely want indigenous people in the conversation.
If you're going to do that. So let's, in fact, only talk about stuff we know about.
Sure.
So, right?
There's another movie, I forget the name. This guy follows his sister to an island. She's been kind of abducted by a cult. And he doesn't believe in any of the cult stuff that's happening on the island. But then it turns out that they've kind of tied down some kind of demigod deity and are constantly feeding it sacrifices to give them better crops and better whatever. But is this ringing a bell?
No.
All right.
But I just thought of something.
Yeah.
The lines aren't drawing power. They're going to be how your lightning creature escapes. It's a way for them to summon the thing and then put it into the power grid.
They're trying to get rid of it.
They want to get rid of it, whether they're trying to get rid of it or spread it or give it access to the modern world in some way. I love the idea of like,
but can these, like, since there's a bunch of wires, could these be all like different attempts to do it, or different something like that? Like, why would trying to think of why would they keep stringing a bunch of different wires?
He's failing.
She keeps failing, or does it goes wrong, or something isn't perfect every time, so she keeps trying to do it in a different way.
Okay, so what if our hero, our Hydro Man, what's his name? His name's Cliff.
Okay,
I think his name's Hydro. Cliff the Hydro Man. Cliff, he has a mustache for sure, but he's young. He's like 20.
I've been imagining the actor that played Freddie Mercury, Mr. Robot.
Oh yeah.
I've been imagining that guy.
Okay, well, he could sport a really great mustache.
He did in Bohemian Rhapsody. I think of Cliff as burlier, but
but I love it. We've mentally cast Cliff goes into the woods. I love your idea, Dan, that they're failed attempts, which means this is why Cliff he's following the line and he finds it's been cut. And he finds a whole bunch of them have been cut, which means we have another character who's been trying to prevent things, who knows what it is, someone that we could call them Mrs. Exposition. They're going to show up in this story eventually and tell us what's really going on, right? And so now what we've done is we've created an action that requires an explanation, but is also connected to the plot in such a way that its explanation will make things clearer rather than more mysterious, right? So all these cut lines, but he can still follow the other end of the line.
And not just like cleanly cut, like the wire is all warped and like curled up and like broken, like as if violently, like,
right.
If you ever like tear a metal wire, like it kind of like springs over on itself and it's not a clean cut.
Right. What about I don't know why, but my mind just went to, do you guys know about cargo cults?
I've heard about this. Is this wasn't there a movie about it? Luggage of the Gods?
Something like that.
There's a movie called Luggage, and that's like...
Cargo cult is a real thing.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Right? So like during the beginning of big air freight, there were still undiscovered human settlements in islands all over the planet. And so if a plane landed and had to clear a runway space to take off again, the people who lived there believed that clearing the runway would cause these big metal planes to land. And so, right?
Yeah.
And so this is so what about a undiscovered group of people who don't, it's something to do with lightning.
Yeah.
Right? And they know something about how power works. And now along comes human modern society putting in these hydro lines everywhere. Something connected to that. I don't know. It's just a nascent idea, but
yeah. So like an isolated village that's been living in the wilderness, off the grid, as it were, and now suddenly there is access to the grid,
right?
And it upsets their balance with local deity.
Yeah, local deity. I like the idea of local deity.
Yeah, just the local deity.
But it's not really a deity. It's just a person who is pretending to be a god.
Oh, is that the bad thing?
Well, that's the witch or whatever, right? She's not a god. She's just a person who could do some stuff.
A supernatural.
Well, maybe there was at one point, and they're electrocuting different people to try to find another one.
What are you doing with the dryer?
It just came on. I was just looking at it.
Well, you shouldn't play with things like that, David. You could get hurt.
Dad, I wasn't playing with it. It just came on and it was making a noise.
So if we go with that, now again, dear listener, it doesn't matter if this is a good idea. Are you saying it's not? No. What I'm saying is I don't know where it will lead, and that's why we should follow it.
Yeah.
Because the beginning and the middle, you don't stop there. You need to have the beginning and the middle attached to an end before you decide if it's worth rewriting. So that's what we're going to try and do. So we have Cliff the Hydro Man has been sent to investigate some peculiarities with the line. He meets some guys who are clearing the line, who've sent people ahead to try and figure out if it's just a fallen tree or whatever. They haven't come back. He assumes that they're just effing off.
Yeah.
he finds out, no, that's not in fact true. They're trying to do a good job. He finds all these lines that lead from the hydro lines off into the deep wilderness. He follows one of them, finds that they're all being cut by something frayed, horrible. He comes across a, I don't forget how we phrase it, but a isolated community. Let's just call that the isolated. And this isolated community is regularly electrocuting members of its congregation in the hopes of reigniting some former supernatural.
They have some kind of
ability.
lightning religion.
Yeah.
And at some point or another, maybe there was something actually supernatural. And then I kind of want the ending to be somewhat similar to like Firestarter, where they electrocute the wrong girl and she turns on them, and
someone does have
the power.
But it doesn't end up the way they hope. She ends up destroying them.
Okay, now, the end of any story should contain an element from the beginning or middle of your story that you didn't know was super important, or you left blank.
Well, then we have this guy who knows a lot about electricity.
Well, and I also think, no, the person cutting the wire is the person that knows they have the power already and hates watching these innocent people being electrocuted, can't just sit idly by, and so has been trying to disrupt it.
So this is the person who lives in the
and
is seeing what's going on, but wants to stop it. Basically.
Wants to stop it, wants out, isn't sure. Well, I don't know anything about them, except we said that she would be our exposition lady, so that gives her the power, which can be a surprise.
So Cliff meets her in the woods,
Yeah.
and then that's how she fills him in on what's going on.
Okay, so he's watching this community who is like stringing up somebody else, and they arrive all excited because they have a whole bunch of new gear, and he realizes they've stolen it from his truck. Right?
Yeah, that's good.
And now they're hooking up a new person, which...
So like town square, somebody is getting like almost like burned at the stake, but they're getting put up on like
it's like what do they call them? Stockade. When you put them in stockade and they put their arms, like they're locked into something, some kind of a thing like that.
That's right.
And they're taking these two wires and like sticking them in their head.
Yeah, or just touching it. But here's how we find out about this person. He's watching this isolated community. He's getting freaked out. This huge, muscly, monstrous man spots him and comes running straight for him. And so he's trying to hide. And then we see that huge dude captured by the community and dragged to the stockade. He's in fact not the threat. He spotted someone who could help him, and Cliff hid instead. And so that guy gets dragged and electrocuted. And so immediately I imagine it now is some kind of like Norse-related, lightning god-related. Right.
So they do some kind of like sermon before,
Yeah.
and yes.
And then they fry him, does not work. He gets scared. He turns to like leave or flee, and there's the girl there who's like telling him where to hide. Or maybe they spot him. Maybe he shouts something.
There's a chase, yeah.
Yeah, there's a chase. He hides. The girl hides him and starts explaining like what they've been doing. And like since they put in the new line, right? I think that's what we have to establish, is that this new line has been put in.
Yeah.
And so these things have been recent problems in the last like year or so. And maybe she asks him if he's a god or if he's,
Are you a god?
It's,
Ray.
right?
Someone asks you for God, you say yes.
Yes, you say yes. Yeah. I love that scene in Ghostbusters, by the way, where they are digging the hole in the street.
Yeah.
Is that Ghostbusters 1 or 2?
Yeah, that's the second one. The second one where they're going into the sewer.
Oh my gosh.
totally.
And they're just digging the hole, and it's like, did you tell him to stop digging?
I didn't tell him to stop thinking. Anyway, sorry.
Sorry, we got diverted, but they had utility belts, hard hats, and they were doing hydro-looking work. So I guess my imagination went there. So Hydro Man finds Exposition Girl.
Yeah.
She explains to him they're a cult. They think that they can bring their god back to life. They keep killing the people. I'm trying to stop them. So the big reveal, of course, has to be, well, no, I'm the god, right? I've been here the whole time.
Priestess's daughter or something like that, or son, like there's a reason why they haven't been killed yet.
Yeah, something. I don't know what that reason is.
Yeah.
And I'm clinging to, and this may be a case of first idea, worst idea, but I'm clinging to the idea that this creature or power, in the end, does travel up that original line, connects to the hydro system, and gets out.
Yeah.
That's I
What if
feel
it's
like
the girl? What if it's exposition girl?
okay. So
She is the chosen one, as it
Right.
were.
okay, and
But
so
she doesn't know it though.
could we have a double flip that the cult is trying to keep her safe, like their reason for putting the god in this place, summoning it to this person, is so that they can keep them separate from society.
They're actually trying to contain it.
Yeah. No, it loses some of its credulity because we have this wire connection. If they had electricity at all, then
Let's back up for a sec. I think the design of the village, it'd be really neat because Cliff knows a lot about electricity. If it's like mostly, wooden shacks, but they have all this like old 20s and 30s like electricity
all
technology.
knob and tube everywhere.
Right, like think like Tesla demonstrations during the World Fair, like just crap like that everywhere. Like every house has a bunch of lightning rods. They have like obviously
that's how they did this before the lines.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They waited for the lightning.
Yes.
Tried to encourage it as much.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're built on a big chunk of like Canadian shield with a huge exposed iron deposit, so that they've been able to make, they have all this metal, essentially. They can smelt it themselves and they can build all this stuff just using blacksmith technology and a knowledge of lightning. You could make a lot of stuff that attracts lightning.
Borderline steampunk. I think this village could have a really cool aesthetic.
Yeah. Okay, so...
But what are they doing with all this lightning? What's the goal?
So, why this, why now is a good question to ask yourself in any
now they have
and we
access.
have it.
They don't have to wait for lightning.
They don't have to wait for lightning, so that's the why this, why now. Someone somewhere wants something, a complication ensues, a detail from earlier is how you solve the problem.
Which I feel like
and end the story.
Just like something that is part of Cliff's average job, dealing with huge amounts of electricity, right? He knows how to do certain things.
Yeah. What if he knows that what if he knows, and this unfortunately connects darkly to my story of my dad's brother, that one thing that really conducts electricity well is the human body. And he could arc the two things at some point with himself or with another person. I think himself, maybe some kind of...
Well, it's a self-sacrifice.
Right?
Yes.
Some kind of self-sacrifice that creates the bridge that allows the power to escape.
So the same ending as Wolverine and Deadpool.
I don't remember the ending of Wolverine.
They become a conduit, like holding hands. And,
do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
So you're
right. They close the loop themselves. Yes. So we'll borrow from cinematic masterpiece by visionary director. No.
Okay, maybe we establish.
Sean Levy directed that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What else did Sean Levy direct?
Free Guy.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Visionary director, Sean Levy. Hey, listen. Both very successful movies. Yeah. People love them. They're very entertaining.
Like maybe the girl, like it's known the girl is like the demigod or whatever. And before they could only use her power during lightning storms, but now they're basically abusing this demigod because they can electrocute her all the time.
Okay, so what if the power, like the god thing, the bad thing, is inside of her?
Yeah.
But not her specifically. Like she knows it's there.
Yeah.
It hid from them. Right? And so it has to leave. Right?
If she's hanging out with him, maybe she can show him how she can deal with huge amounts of electricity without it being like, don't touch that, it'll kill you immediately. It's like, oh yeah, it's no problem. Like,
right. I like that.
And he can't explain that. Like that doesn't make sense.
There's a lot of things I don't understand. Take lightning. My grandpa's house was...
Look, there wasn't any lightning last night, was there?
You want me to admit it? Okay, I admit it. I don't have a goddamn clue what happened to your TV set.
Okay, so she has powers. We established the powers, but we don't yet have... And this is one of those times where I believe in a second draft, the human side of the character that you would now write, so not plot, but character, would probably give you the pieces you need, the motivations you need. So, for example, if, and these are just off the top of my head, but in the truck, whoever he talked to last before he loses communication could give you some connection to his motivations or his real life. Pictures he has in his wallet, something he keeps in the truck that lets you know he has a family or doesn't have a family.
Or common trope is he's going through like a rough patch in his marriage and he's taken some time off. And so the last conversation he has is like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get better. Like, we just,
I think it's been done a lot.
That's been done a lot. That's why.
So instead, we have to have that he has the best family.
But then, see, there's no, like, you gotta pile on that conflict. There has to be something going right at home.
Well, here's the conflict. Okay, so let's flip that.
Okay, well,
if he has the best family life and we establish that for the first quarter of the story,
he's gotta have a sick kid at least.
No,
right?
No, what I'm saying is it makes his sacrifice mean more.
Yeah.
Right? It means that when he's a good dude, doing good stuff, always doing the right thing, trying to be an upstanding person, and we know that there will be all these people who miss him, means that the empathy we have is for him, the main character, who then sacrifices himself.
What if once the girl is charged up, she can heal? Like, we have some sick townsfolk,
like hands-on
and
healing.
he watches as they electrocute the crap out of her, and then she puts her hands on somebody who's hurt,
right?
And they like get back up.
Oh, like they all have pacemakers. They're all like, it's like a whole community of geriatrics.
Yeah, like they've been living for
a long time. Actually, that's not bad. That's a good genre element.
Good for the sequel.
Right? They all have, so then they all have super white hair because they're all being hit by lightning all the time.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe okay. Yeah. So
Justin's cooking now.
Yeah, the guy discovers the little settlement, the village. He sees this girl. Maybe she's like chained up. Maybe she's like, they keep her on a tight leash.
And all the hoses, let's not skip that part, all have lightning rods and
tons of lightning
chunks on it all.
Wires going everywhere. Yeah. A whole huge Tesla coil is just willy-nilly. They bring into the square one of the other villagers who's hobbled over, has white hair, old, decrepit. They shock the crap out of the girl, who then puts her hands on this old person whose hair goes jet black and stands up and is now like 20 years. And
like,
so they're using her as a battery to keep the entire village going.
So I have a +1 to that. It's not... So if they were a lightning cult and they were in this remote place where lightning strikes all the time because of this iron deposit, right, which is why they're living there, and they know they can live a long time here, they don't know that modern electrical society exists, right? And so that's what Exposition Girl is trying to prevent. Like, they realize there's power in those cables and have been using it. And when the whole community is well enough, they're going to leave. And go into the world. And so she's been cutting the cables to prevent them from getting basically up to full power and to just pushing off their departure.
They don't have to wait for the storms anymore.
Yeah.
Now they can get everybody well and good again. Maybe like the village has been slowly dying, and this was like kind of their,
So you could have a genre leap where you could suggest that they're religious minded, that they believe in these lightning gods, but we could also show through visual or through some other hints that it's a parasite, an alien, another consciousness, some other thing.
I don't know if you need to explain that. Like, the ask of the audience is, shock this girl and
these lightning
heal people. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. I don't know if we need to take it a step further.
Okay, so the lightning people,
that's
in the sequel. Yeah.
Like, are you thinking like you want to see we go into a basement at some point and there's some tech that doesn't make sense, or there's runes, or there's something that is
some big question mark. We need to leave a big question mark so that the audience, in whatever medium it's in, says, well, maybe they were aliens. Oh, no. Maybe they were just religious fanatics. No. Maybe they were inventors. Like, we don't say what they are. We stick to Justin's idea that it's lightning people. Mm-hmm. And as long as the lightning strikes them, they live a long time. But they need regular infusions of it so they don't leave the area. Mm-hmm. Now they realize, there's a thing to follow, right? You have to prevent them. So then does it become a story where you destroy the hydro line?
Or is it that... They're keeping their god in check, right? They lightning strike, whatever, but once at the end of the movie or the film or the show or whatever this is, she gets access to the electricity nonstop and becomes uncontrollable and has her revenge on these people that have been sapping her for the past 100 years.
Oh, like you could have some final showdown at the hydro line, at the main line, where she touches it.
Yeah, like they've been keeping her diet kind of like, we will feed you when we need you.
Oh, so she taught them how originally. So she's young, but she's very old.
But
She's
very
lived
old.
a long time.
And they keep her like on a very controlled diet.
Really?
Like, so they keep the lightning away from her.
And she could be saying to Hydro Man, to Cliff, like, there's a reason that power only comes once in a while. Like, people are not meant to have it all the time. You've done a terrible thing. Your society is going to suffer because you've trapped the lightning in this way, right? This is a good bit of, like, cryptic dialogue. This also accomplishes what I liked, or what I like about those other movies, is that the bad thing is both human and unknown.
Yeah.
And people doing it wrong, using this like technology or this ancient knowledge in a way that is clearly selfish, is creating the problem, which makes a nice thing. So
out in a nice Resident Evil village where they can be using electricity to fry people in horrible ways and do terrible things.
And so Cliff's power of understanding how electricity works means that he can be shorting these people out. Like he can have his his boots and his gloves, which he can't get shot. And when he touches these people who are trying to get him to their own infrastructure, it drains them, right? He can use some elements of, his electrician powers. You'd have to find out what those are and how that works. But he could use some cables, some wires, some whatever, to like short them out once in a while.
Spooky, ain't it? Did it talk to you? The voice in the wires.
So this is like a fun scaffolding of a first draft, and then you would go in and would start to really flesh out characters and relationships and...
So like in the beats, he finds the place, he goes there, he sees that there are people, the lightning people, who are taking too much of the power. The exposition girl tells him, oh, I used to give them this power, but now they're crazy for...
Does he try to free her? Is that where they temporarily escape and she tells him...
I think so. They're trying to make it out of there, and she says, no, it's not going to solve it.
But the entire village would be after them because that's their meal ticket to immortality.
And the other beat, the story beat, which I'd have to flesh out, and it'd have to be based on his motivations. I would want him to sacrifice himself somehow to prevent whatever.
He gives her the juice at the end that she needs to kill everybody.
Like he could hook them up.
He touches the main line and then touches her to give her more than she's...
She Wolverines it.
She Wolverines.
Yeah. I'm not opposed to it. Right, I like it. Like she just can't quite reach it, or they have to change the cable. It's good.
Yeah.
So what it does is it creates a nice, don't pardon this pun, closed circuit of a story where we know where we started. Every detail so far connects to the main idea.
So we also have, every time this happens in like sci-fi or fantasy where there's a power that can heal,
right?
You kind of know like, oh, is anybody actually going to really die? Like, are the main characters... Right. I just recently watched Death of a Unicorn, which there's an element of, like, healing properties. So when one of the main characters gets mortally wounded, you're not really worried because
they've established
we have a healing potion in this movie.
So we'll do better than that. We'll make sure he dies.
But you want to make sure he dies?
Oh, got to go for it. Yeah, got to go.
Yeah.
I agree.
Or maybe instead of escaping, she heals him.
I don't.
Whatever.
Let's vote for it. What do you think, Dan?
I say he dies.
Grizzly electrified.
Yeah.
At what point in the film and the story do you want to reveal there's actual something like arcane and magical going on? How much of it do you want to be like, or is it just crazy cult people in the woods?
Well, the first third, I think, is weird obsession with electricity, cult people. The rule of one impossible thing at a time. So they touched the electrical cables and didn't die. That's enough of a thing to lead us to. Then there's people living in the woods with all of this weird lightning cult. That's one impossible thing at a time. Oh, the lightning cult knows how to heal themselves and keep themselves alive. That's a big idea. Then, it turns out they've been keeping themselves alive for hundreds of years. That's another big one.
Yeah.
We got to stop them is another big one. Only I can help. But you, Hydro Man, and your knowledge of modern electricity, you know also something important that can help us kill or stop all these people. And I'm sure anybody who is married to, is or grew up in an electrician's family, I immediately want to call my friends the Bootangs and find out some stuff about electricity and electricians. There's probably some very simple, normal way that you could drain a giant amount of electricity from a place safely, which he would know, I'm sure. I don't know what that is. I am not an electrical engineer, but I bet this is the time in that second draft where you do a bit of Googling.
Well, and you set up that they stole all the stuff from his truck.
Right.
So at some point, he's going to get access back to that and be able to
truck stuff.
Use his truck stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm writing down truck stuff. Truck stuff. So, and this leads back to the original comment of how the truck is a really great resource in the story. We've used it a couple of times.
We'll spend some time in the truck at the beginning to establish it as a character.
But look at what we did with it. We used the truck to figure out places where we could put character in. We looked at it for where we could find tools. We looked at it for how we could get from place to place. We used it right at the end to give our villains access to stuff they wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Worked out pretty good.
So we have Cliff and Girl running away from the villagers. They're like just, 100 of them with pitchforks and torches running through the woods.
Pickaxes.
All kinds of, I think they should be mining communities as well for all the
right.
Oh, that started as a mining community.
But they're running. The villagers are closing in, and then they get to the power line clearing, and the girl holds back, and instead of continuing to run with the guys, like, what are you doing? She climbs up and grabs onto the live, power line.
Oh, yeah.
And goes, Super Saiyan, floaty electrical witch girl, and just smites the entire village. And when she's used up all her power, she also ages rapidly and becomes basically
decrepit old witch.
Just by the end. And so he's left with no evidence of this entire adventure. Everybody's dead. All the villagers dead. She's gone. She's been used up.
That's a solid ending.
And we just have to go back to...
What I don't like about the ending is he didn't die.
Yeah.
You really wanted him to die.
But snuck that in there. So.
Yeah. No, but again, this is one of those things where...
Tidy bow.
A nice tidy bow is good. You can work with that, right? You can work with that ending.
Tentative title for this?
Oh.
Lightning in a bottle.
Good. It's been done. I like lightning people. You said lightning people.
Yeah, but lightning people. I like... Oh, hey, wait! I just remembered the old riddle. My tines be long, my tines be short. My tines end ere their first report. What am I? This is what the girl will ask him when he says, "Who are you?" That's her answer. My tines be long, my tines be short. My tines end ere their first report. And the answer is lightning. Tines are the ends of a fork, right?
Yeah.
And report being you see it before you hear it, right? A classical education has come in.
What's the point? What's your saying?
That I'm just saying that you were thinking about the title and you said lightning people, and then I remembered I knew a lightning poem, and then I remembered that it's kind of a cool way of her saying who she is. Mm-hmm. She is the lightning.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
They have to keep her in rubber boots and rubber gloves, and she has to be kind of
insulated.
Insulated. I like that. Yeah, I do like that. Yeah, so she looked like this weird thing.
Community.
What's it called?
No. Titles are hard.
Titles are hard?
Yeah.
Shock therapy. No. Lightning. No, can't be that.
Circuit breaker.
Circuit breaker.
I like lightning or some electricity.
I still don't exactly know the tone of it either. I think that comes in a couple more rewrites.
Yeah, the rewrite is going to tell us. Yeah.
I would watch this.
I was looking up electrical terms, and one of them is apparent power.
Oh, yeah.
Yo.
That's a measure of the total power in an AC circuit. It's made up of both the active and reactive power.
Apparent power.
Oh, good for now.
Yeah.
What about just power line?
Power line, sure. Power line.
That's the Goofy movie.
Is that the Michael? What's that? Is there one
in the Goofy movie? He wants to go watch Powerline in concert.
Oh, is that the name of the band? Oh, yeah. That's hilarious.
Then that's another reason to for sure.
There's a little nod to the Goofy movie.
Oh my gosh! So, dear listener, as a final thought, if you're trying to do a story break, the rules are very simple. Have a short amount of time.
Yeah.
because then you don't get caught up in having to do a good job. We have not got caught up in having to do a good job. We're simply trying to get from the beginning to the middle to the end of the story and have the story rhyme with itself. And what you mean by that is that all the elements, in this case, the electrical elements, our power lines, have a place where they are repeating. That idea is repeating enough that you can explore it and build on it and make it interesting. What makes it interesting is, of course, the second draft, right? All we ended up here with was a rough plot and some minor motivations. So if you are worried that you keep writing the first half of your short stories, the first half of your novels, the first half of your scripts or comics, it's because you're so tied up with needing it to be good, you forgot it needs to be over before you can rewrite it. So this has been Super Pulp Science, where we have talked about how genre gets made. And this is GMB Kamichuk encouraging you to join the fight and make comics.